This means you have a bad hook, and here's how to fix it. After studying thousands of viral videos, I found a pattern. Every viral video uses these 4 techniques. So to test it, I applied them into this video, and within 24 hours, it got over 1 million views. Here's what they are, and the last one is the most important. Here was the original boring hook. Here's how to blur out your house on Google Maps. Now watch the rewritten version. You need to blur out your house on Google Maps right now. Immediately, I created urgency and implied danger. That's technique number 1. A pattern interrupt. Now, instead of sounding educational, it sounds like a threat. That stops the scroll. But grabbing attention isn't enough. You also need to hold it. So the next line was, with one click, anyone can access your home. Now the viewer thinks, wait, what do you mean anyone could just access my home? That's technique number 2, a curiosity gap. But hidden inside this same line is technique number 3, stakes. Now the viewer feels like if they swipe away, they could miss something important. And this final line, here's how to blur it in 10 seconds. That's technique number 4, a payoff promise. Now the solution feels fast and easy, which lowers resistance and increases watch time.
This secret storytelling framework made me my family's first millionaire and allowed me to buy my dad a new car and home. I've never shared it publicly because every framework I make gets stripped by a guru and they sell it as their own. But I think this is just too good not to share, and I desperately want to see you win, so I'm doing this for you. It's called my storytelling wheel, and it answers the 2 questions that I guarantee are making you stuck. Number 1, what to post, and number 2, how to make it good. First, it tells you which stories to pull from your own life. And it's easy to remember because it literally spells out life. L is for love. These are relationships and hobbies. I is identity, which is for culture, sex, age, and faith. Fitness is for your mind, body, and spirit. And earnings is for your career, clients, and skills. Every story worth sharing fits into one of these 4 categories. Then it also shows you how to tell those stories in an engaging way. There are 3 depths: safe, real, and raw. The magic is that all you need to do is ask yourself 3 whys to descend to each layer and make a really good video. Say I want to make a story in the category of love, and it could be about my trip to France with my girlfriend. I would ask the first question of, why does that even matter? Well, we finally took that dream trip that we worked years for. But why again? It was the first time that I actually slowed down and I was present with her instead of being buried in my work. But why? I've been so scared of going broke again that I almost worked myself out of the one relationship that kept me fulfilled. France was me finally believing that I could keep the work and the relationship without sacrificing one for the other. That last one is the version that makes the viewer feel something, connect to you. This works every time. So the best creators are here, the worst creators are here, and the average creators are somewhere in here. Over 2,000 of you have asked me to run a storytelling content challenge where I teach you frameworks like this one and give you templates to practice with daily. If you want in, tell me in the comments below.
This is how to get people addicted to your storytelling, even if you talk about super boring topics. It's called the illusion of novelty. And this one framework is the ultimate storytelling hack for boring businesses. Step 1 is the new reveal. The first thing you have to do to make a boring topic feel new is reveal that something has changed about it. Let's say I make content about drinking water, the most boring topic ever. If I say drinking water is good for you, well then I've lost your attention because you already knew that. But instead, if I say there's new research that says drinking water at a specific time of day will give you more energy than coffee. All of a sudden, I just revealed something new about that old topic. Now, step 2 in the framework is called contrast framing. And this is when you take that new reveal and position it against the old way of thinking. So in the water example, I might say something like this. Now, everyone knows you should drink 8 cups of water per day to stay healthy. Well, it turns out that number is made up. And what actually matters more isn't how much you drink, but when. See, now I've created a comparative relationship between what you currently believe, the amount of water, and my new reveal, the timing. And this makes you a lot more curious to see if my new reveal is true. Step 3 in the framework is called urgency, and I like to refer to this as the turbo button. If you really want to make your stories 10 out of 10 addicting, you should add urgency on top of your new reveal. And this is usually something based around timeliness. Something just happened or something is about to close forever. So for the water example, it could be something like a new study just published that shows the timeliness of drinking water matters. That new study creates urgency, which amplifies the effect of the reveal. Now the last step, step 4 in the framework, is called bullseye proof, because the last mile of getting this whole thing to work is making the viewer believe that your new reveal is true. So this is where you layer on some proof to justify why the viewer should believe you. That professional study is the thing that seals the deal. Without proof, your wild claim reveal may fall flat. So this is an insurance policy. Those 4 steps combine together to create the illusion that something is novel, even if it's actually boring. Comment novelty and I'll send you a full breakdown of this framework with more examples and a Claude skill that you can feed in to automatically apply it to your own scripts. Here's how to get people actually addicted to your content. It's called the fandom funnel. And this really is the science behind how to create more superfans on social media. As a creator, your number one goal is to get as many people down this funnel as possible. It starts with a new viewer that eventually becomes a casual watcher, a new follower, a casual fan, an active supporter, and then eventually a super fan. Now here's the key. If you want more people to go down the fandom funnel faster, there are 4 things you need the viewer to feel while they're watching your content. You can get a ton of views, but if they don't feel these 4 things, they will not convert to followers and definitely never be super fans. The 4 elements are bullseye relatability, parasocial transformations, deep one-of-one expertise, and vibe magnets. If you want to understand what those 4 things are and the 7 tactical things you can do in your content to make viewers feel those 4 things, comment fandom and I'll send you a guide breaking down the whole thing. Here's how to write a hook so good it is scientifically impossible to skip. This is called the triple hook method. And if you do this right, it will hypnotize a viewer such that they physically cannot scroll away. All right, step 1 is the context. And this is the basic step, but so many people still get this wrong. Viewers only watch content where they have a vested interest in the topic. So the first line of your hook must establish context on what the video is going to be about. You can say it in the audio,
7-figure content toolkit,
show it in the visuals, write it in the text or caption, ideally all 3, but the context must be established immediately. We have data that shows even delaying the context to the back half of the first sentence increases the skip rate dramatically. So priority number 1 is to set immediate context as soon as possible. Now step 2 in the triple hook is where most people mess up. This is called the lean. What you're trying to do is get someone curious in a certain direction. You want to make them lean in on the context to actively want to hear more. Now you can make this lean in happen in a variety of ways. You can give some proof or stat validating the incoming claim, reference a specific pain point they have or a benefit they want, or share something interesting, shocking, or unexpected. But regardless of what you pick, the viewer must lean in instead of opt out. So when you read back that first 1 to 2 sentences just on its own, is the context immediately clear, and is there some curiosity inducement that makes the viewer want to lean in for more? It's called the context lean. This is what opens the curiosity loop you hear everybody talk about. Now step 3 in the triple hook is really where the money's made. Like 1% of people know how to do this. I call it the contrarian snapback. To catch a fish, you gotta get the hook in its mouth swimming one way and then yank the line going another direction. Not to be morbid, but storytelling works the exact same way. The goal is to say something in the contrarian snapback that pulls the viewer away from the direction they were leaning, essentially snapping them back down another path. That triple combination of rapidly buying into the context, leaning in based on some curiosity, and then getting snapped back in another direction is the God tier hook formula that works every single time. Now, if you want to learn how to actually do this in practice with examples, I've linked a video where I explain it in more detail. Over 700,000 people have watched this, and I'm telling you, it's probably the best hook training on the internet. Comment hooks and I'll send it to you so you can watch it. These are the only 6 words you need to make your hooks impossible to skip. They're called the 6 hook power words. And I'm telling you, the best hooks on the internet use all 6 of these. Number 1 is called the subject clarity word. And this calls out the subject of the video in the hook. Now this could be you, me, I, we, or any other subject, but the subject clarity word has to be in the hook to hook the viewer. Word number 2 is called the action word. And this represents the action the subject takes to get whatever outcome they were looking for. Let's take this hook as an example. If I had to grow from 0 to 100K subs on YouTube, here's how I do it. The subject word is obviously I, but the action words are had to grow. That's the action I would be taking. Now the third hook power word is the objective or state change word, and this is super important. The objective word frames the end result the subject took the action to get. In our example, the objective or end state word is 0 to 100K subs on YouTube. I, the subject, need to grow the action 0 to 100K subs on YouTube. The objective. Now the fourth hook power word is called the contrast word, and this one is the most important in the entire stack. The contrast word compares the outcome, word 3, to the base state. So in our example, the contrast word also is 0 to 100K subs. The end state is 100K and the base state is 0. That transformation, going from 0 to 100, ratchets up the curiosity because of the contrast word. So every winning hook should have the subject clarity word, the action word, the objective word, and the contrast word. Now the last 2 hook power words are optional, but they really help ramp up the intrigue and curiosity of the hook. You don't have to use the last 2, but the best hooks usually do. If you want to learn the last 2 power words, plus see a bunch of different examples with all 6 in action, comment power and I'll send you a deep dive breaking down the whole thing for free. How to Make Better Videos, episode 5, storytelling. If you want to get insane at storytelling and you could only learn one thing, it'd be this. This is straight from the creators of South Park and why their stories are so good.
We've found out this really simple rule that maybe you guys have all heard before, but it took us a long time to learn it. But we can take these beats, which are basically the beats of your outline, and if the words "and then" belong between those beats, you're f***ed, basically. You got something pretty boring. What should happen between every beat that you've written down is either the word "therefore" or "but," right? So what I'm saying is that you come up with an idea and it's like, okay, this happens, right? And then this happens. No, it should be this happens, and therefore this happens. But this happens, therefore this happens.
So it's very simple. You want to use but and therefore whenever you tell a story. And here's why. When you start a story like 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4, it just gets way too predictable and boring. Great storytelling has conflict and contrast. You get the viewer leaning one way and then boom, you switch directions. The way you do this literally in a story is by using the word but. We thought this was going to happen, but actually something unexpected happened. It's much more curiosity inducing when you do it that way. If you use this but therefore framework next time you're writing a script, I guarantee it will level up your video. Also, if you really want to master storytelling, I put together this full doc that goes through all 8 of the core storytelling principles. The contrast with but and therefore is number 1, but there's 7 other ones that make up the full puzzle of great stories. You can just take this whole doc and feed it into whatever AI you use and it will instantly level up your storytelling ability. If you comment Park, I'll send you the whole thing for free. Oh yeah, and by the way, when you let this video loop, you'll see how I used the word but to hook you in the beginning.